Hi, everybody. This is Andy Bachman with the Prioritize or Perish webcast. Sometimes I'll say podcast, but whatever it is, I mean this video series that's based on climate resilience and adaptation to things that are happening in the extreme weather and other categories. I had a different uh, menu for today in my schedule, but I can't help but talk about deferred maintenance and what's going on in Jackson, Mississippi in the last few days, the last week and a half or so. And so you're going to hear a little bit about that. And before I get there, let me go to the disclaimer that I started doing last time too. Just to say that the views I'm going to express aren't the same as my employer, my various levels of employers. Hopefully they don't feel terribly different, but they may not feel exactly the same either. So just want to say that when we get started. It's early September 2022, by the way, in case you're watching this sometime further in the future. All right, so I did a LinkedIn posting a few days ago, and a lot of people looked at it, and a fair number of people responded to it in ways that I thought were really brilliant and hard hitting. And so that's the main thing I want to do in this short time together is be able to show you what some of the folks, how they responded to this issue, which is really pissing me off. So here we go. This is the post. It basically reprises what the mayor said. This is 3 decades or so of negligence of funding for the water utility. And then me calling out to the universe saying, come on, people, you can't do this. You can't do this to your fellow man. Do you not have any empathy? Do you not have any respect for your capital city, for example? You'd think you would, right? Because it's where people come to when they're coming to work on policy issues with you. And yet this state, where I once lived in Biloxi for a year after I got out of the Air Force Academy and before I went to England, I thought it was a good place to live. I never made it to Jackson, and maybe I would have seen things here that would have better informed this talk I'm giving now. Nevertheless, it's unacceptable what's happening there. People don't have the ability with the confidence to wake up in the morning and be able to drink the water, cook with their water, bathe with their water, and in many cases not even be able to flush the toilet because there's no water pressure because they haven't taken care of the pipes. And it's not just a southern thing. There's a person who comments on that when I get there. But man, it's just an embarrassment. It's a human embarrassment that we allow this to happen in our country in the year 2022. So enough of that soapbox. Let me get to the comments because I think they are better than what I have for you here. Got to move myself, get that out of the way. Yeah. All right. So these are all folks, in most cases, who I know. Some I don't. But first, the first caller says, I can't even count the damage that I've seen in the past many years of deferred maintenance. Transit resources like roads, bridges, communication lines don't receive upgrades until 150% or some high amount of capacity is reached. Service degradation until the users weep seems like the trigger, seems like the normal way of doing business these days. I believe that Flint still has issues. Yeah, Flint, Michigan, and other places too, all over the place with gas lines and water lines and many cases things that you can't see because it's infrastructure and you take it for granted until it doesn't work anymore. And many of these things, as and next commenter says, let me see if I can switch the slide, gets to that fact that these are not quick fix things. This is not a software upgrade that you can download and be better. So second one says, if you can't find a way to perform preventative and corrective maintenance, you will have to find a way to perform crisis response and recovery. And if you're deferring maintenance to get past the next election or earnings report, to kick the can down the road and make it someone else's problem, I hope your constituents and shareholders take note, take action. That's right. Vote. Vote them out. Put people in who are responsible adults and run the system like responsible adults so that everybody can have a life. And sorry about the the editorializing I'm doing as I'm reading these things. I mainly just want you to get their points. Water infrastructure in particular is not something you can quickly replace. There are no magic finger snaps that will restore things in a matter of days or even weeks, or I think as you'll see in places like Jackson and Flint, months, maybe years. This is why deferred maintenance for year after year is bordering on criminal negligence. That sounds like somebody I could agree with. Again, moving myself to not block your view. Maybe we should consider charging current and past decision makers and the accountants who have also avoided spending to ensure they look good, turn a profit. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. That sounds like potentially a very good idea if that's what it takes to motivate folks to run things in a responsible way. And the final one says, fragility induced by a focus on quick fixes and immediate returns. Now we watch the consequences unfold. So much of my life in cybersecurity and now climate resilience and adaptation is about consequences, identifying the worst ones and fixing the things that would cause them before they actually come about. But everything is not like that, and people only respond to crises if they respond at all, and damn the consequences, as long as they're not affecting themselves or their family or their community, people that they care about. So that sounds a little cynical, but I would also argue it's quite a bit realistic. So there you go. I think that's the last part. And so I just wanted you to be exposed to these things. It's a little bit like, climate change and how it's getting worse now, and it's visible to everybody, is increasingly accepted by the men and women on the street, on the Hill, in DC, and in boardrooms across the country as something we did to ourselves. In England, on the soccer field, the football pitch, they'd say it's an own goal. We did this to ourselves. And then when you combine it with deferred maintenance, where you're already putting a population at risk for other reasons, you're already on the edge. You've put folks on the edge. And then along comes climate change with its various forces and gives you a shot that you didn't have before. And now you fall over. You fall over the cliff. And there's no quick getting back up on your feet again, getting those people help. And so that's two types of own goals. When they get together, it seems like a sort of potentially a canary in a climate change coal mine. That Jackson, Mississippi may be just that, and it won't be the only one. Sorry to sound negative, but I think it's realistic on this early September morning. I hope you're doing okay out there. Be safe, be well, and I'll be back with episode 4 before you know it. Thanks a lot. Bye.